Well, hello, everyone. This is Dr. Kendrick, your nurse advocate, educator, and navigator, here tonight on Health Chats Among Friends. I have a lovely co-host.
Hi there. I'm Sue Wallace. I'm the certified senior advisor. Excuse me, I can't talk. Certified senior advisor, and that just means that I can provide advocacy services. And Deidre and I collaborate on some situations from time to time. So
yes,
glad to be here.
Yes, thank you for tuning in tonight. We have a special guest. We have Dr. Kenyon Godwin here, and he is going to tell us about who he is, about his practices, his amazing services. And so I'm going to say, take it away, Dr. Godwin.
Well, again, thank you to both of you ladies, not just for having me here for this podcast, but also, again, for the work that you do in the community to help people, because it's a very necessary position and stance to take. To be an advocate for someone is a blessing. And I just applaud your work, your years of dedication, whether it be nursing or whatever your background may be. You're here now, you're making a difference. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. So my name is Kenyon Godwin. I'm originally from Virginia, a small little peninsula. So it's called the Delmarva Peninsula. And for time's sake, I'll just give you the very abbreviated version of what I call how I got here. And so when I was about 12 years old, my mother had a heart attack. She was raising her kids to the best of her abilities, 3 of us. And she worked for what's known as Tyson's Chicken. So you think about the need for an advocate, right? Mm-hmm. So no health insurance or health benefits. And what happened was, with her, when she had the heart attack, I just remember as a kid being scared.
Excuse me.
I was scared because this was my mom. This was everything to me. And what I heard from my relatives as they spoke about her in ICU was that, well, she doesn't have health insurance and she doesn't have the money for this procedure or that procedure, and the medication is going to cost so much. In my mind as a kid, what hit me was, they don't want to help my mother.
Right.
That was my interpretation. I didn't understand insurance and benefits and income. All I knew was she was ill. She was suffering because I would hear her. Her bedroom was directly, there was a door that connected her bedroom with our bedroom. And so her bed was against the wall, where my bed was on the other side of the wall. And so when she had these chest pains and things, I could hear her. And so all I could think was, they don't want to help my mother, so I'm going to have to figure out a way to do it. And that was the very first time I was inspired to be a doctor. And it was truly out of selfish reasons. I just wanted to help my mom.
Right.
Fast forward, at 17 years old, I went into the United States Air Force, served 8 years. I was a lab tech, so I worked in a hospital, lab setting, loved it. And as a young man, I had an opportunity where someone was dying. They needed a lot of blood. As a matter of fact, I was stationed in Biloxi, Mississippi at the time. And this particular patient had drained the whole state out of Opa's blood. And you know, Opa's is in abundance, used to be in abundance at that time. And she had taken all of the Opa's for the entire state. And now they were dipping into Louisiana to try to save her life. It was a surgery that didn't go well. And so now she was bleeding. At that time, I was 18 years old, and I watched people freaking out. And it's a hard, tense environment. If you ever worked in a medical environment or hospital, when there's an emergency, you know, there's a lot on the line and nobody wants to make a mistake, and you all want to work together to save lives, which is what I imagine we see today with this pandemic as well. And even though I was only 18 and I was the youngest working to try to help save this woman's life and doing these blood draws and all that, I thrived. I did well working through that pressure. And I had a personal pride and joy in contributing to trying to help save someone's life. And it brought back the memories of when I was 12. And I said, man, I used to want to be a doctor. I used to want to be able to help change and save people's lives. And I think I can do it. And so I started taking, yes. And so I started taking classes, and my anatomy and physiology teacher was a chiropractor. I had never heard of chiropractic before, but I liked the way it sounded. It was natural, it was holistic, it was exercise and nutrition. You know, I didn't grow up taking medication. We didn't have the money for that. So we had home remedies and everything out of the kitchen. I knew I did not want to deliver babies. God bless those that do. That's not my calling. And I knew that surgery wasn't going to be my thing either. And so whatever this man talked about as far as chiropractic goes, I said, that sounds like what I need to do. That sounds in alignment with my values and what I see as a healthy lifestyle. And I started pursuing it. And then I gave my life to Christ a few years later, prayed about it, and God showed me that is what you're supposed to do. So I just pursued it without actually going into an office or knowing exactly what I was getting myself into for about 7 years. And so I packaged that with saying, when I was 12, I experienced some pain from watching my mom's situation and hearing her situation. It caused great pain to me as a child. But God took that pain and made it my purpose. And so I'm here today, and I help so many people in lots of different ways. So I'll break it down slowly. Number one, as I said, alluded to earlier, I graduated in 2010 as a Doctor of Chiropractic. That is my first love. That is the bread and butter and the crux of my degree. And chiropractic is so unique because I see miracles every day. I have people that come in that can hardly walk, hardly stand, have difficulty breathing. They think they're having a heart attack, but it's usually not a heart attack. It's usually a rib, right? But it's still scary.
Yeah.
People with sciatica, women who come in pregnant, whose babies are breached, and they don't want to have a C-section or go through these, that puts a lot of stress on a family, So I see all these situations, and without medication, without any type of surgery, I get a chance to use my hands. Chiropractic means done by hands in Greek. So I get a chance to use my hands gently to create a change in the energy that works throughout the body. I'm going to keep it really simple. So your spine, your nervous system, your brain, it's all like electricity. It's all like very important electricity and energy that's flowing through the body. And it has to flow from brain and all the way out. So really on your inside, you're almost like a tree, right? Right. And so even though people think of me as a neck pain or a back pain person or specialist, really, I make sure that the energy is flowing through the body the way it's supposed to. Because if the energy is flowing through the body the way it's supposed to, then guess what? The body will perform the way it's supposed to. When you have pain, when you have stiffness or restriction of motion, that is just simply the body's communicating and saying that there's a problem with our energy. The output or the input is not matching what we desire. And so chiropractic is a very special and unique profession because we work with the body in a natural way to make sure that that life force that's inside of us gets a chance to express itself to its maximum. Now, everyone's maximum is different. Right. Someone who's fallen, someone who's been in 7, 8 car accidents, there's a whole lot of situations that cause what we call limitations of matter. So if you have a lot of injuries or traumas in your life, and not just physical traumas, even mental traumas, right? So that's one thing in our office that we're big on. I look at people through a mind, body, and spirit model. So if you have certain traumas you've endured in life, that will alter the energy and how it flows through the body. If you don't believe me, think back to a time when you had an important test to take, or for some of you, maybe you had a court date, whatever the case may be. Being nervous can sometimes trigger some digestive difficulty. It can trigger a trip to the bathroom that was unexpected. So just what you were thinking created a physical manifestation in the body. And we sometimes discount how brilliant and how fearfully and wonderfully made our bodies are, and the effect and the importance of taking care of them. And so that's what I love about chiropractic, because if you're having a headache, it's not because your body is low on Excedrin. Right. It's a reason, right? If you're having back pain, it's not because you're short on Advil or Motrin. there's actually a problem or a source of that dysfunction. So I love what I do because I get a chance to get to the underlying cause of this dysfunction before it becomes dis-ease. So we look at it not as disease, but dis-ease. The body is out of ease. The body is out of harmony.
Oh, good. That's a great way to
And
put it.
yes, and we are here to restore that harmony within the body as much as a person can accomplish. So that's what I love about chiropractic. And I'm going to pivot for a second, unless you have a question. If you have a question, obviously you can ask, and then I can move into the functional medicine piece and why I picked that up.
Well, I'd like to ask, because I have seen at my age, I have seen several chiropractors. Do you do adjustments, or do you do gentle manipulation, or do you do a series of those things? So,
That's a great question. I do adjustments, and I have a lot of different ways of performing a chiropractic adjustment. So what's unique about me, I try not to talk a lot about me. I'm trying to add value to the audience. But I mentioned that I see pregnant women, right?
right.
So in my office, I adjust newborn babies all the way up to my oldest practice member was 95, but he passed away in March of this year. So I have a wide gamut of people that I'm adjusting, but I'm not adjusting them all the same. It's just like having kids. I have 3 daughters, 3 amazing, beautiful daughters. And even though they have the same mom and dad, they're in the same house with the same rules, they're still different.
I grew up with 4 girls in my family, so I understand where you're coming from. But my dad lost all his hair, and you still have yours. So,
well, that's because you can only see the front of me. So what happens is like having multiple kids. You know how you need to address each one. If you say clean your room, there's one that's going to clean their room perfectly. They're going to get it all done. There's one that's going to procrastinate, and there's one you're probably going to have to stand there and help, right? And so what the beauty of it is I offer personalized care. So I am going to do an adjustment, but what's appropriate for you may be different based on what's appropriate to the last person that I adjusted.
Great.
I'm going to give you the best adjustment every time, but I'm going to do it based on what I know is ethical and right for you and what you can handle.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. I love that answer. So anyway, it's great, because to me, I think that's what I love about the chiropractor training that you get, is that there's so many facets of it. I know one time I had a sciatic nerve, and I went over to the UNT Health and Science Center. They have a little clinic over there. And the first time, I didn't know my body could get in those, or someone could move my body in those locations. But when I left, I felt a lot better. So, so I can't say enough about UNT Health and Science and all the things that they've done. Now, where did you go to school? I think that would be important to people.
It is important. My bachelor's degree is from Wayland Baptist University.
Okay.
My chiropractic degree is from Parker University. At the time I attended, it was called Parker College of Chiropractic, but they have expanded and got university status. So it's Parker University right here in Dallas, Texas. It is the reason I moved here. I was living in Alaska before I moved here while I was in the military. And so I came to the Metroplex because of Parker, and I stayed here because of my church. So, 2 great things, and both got me here. And that's the reason we're on this podcast.
Well, I've heard wonderful things about Parker through the years also. So that's great. Okay, well, I think we now I'd like to hear about your other topic that you mentioned.
Great. And before I get to that topic, I do want to share one tip, because I love trying to give people something to think about that they can apply that can make their lives easier and less likely to need an urgent visit with me. Awesome. And that is, as we sit here tonight and we do this podcast, more people are sitting down most of the day, I think, than ever. more people are working from computers and laptops and from home, from offices all over. And it is creating some postural difficulties and distortions. So we're looking forward more, we're trying to read what's on the screen, and it's really deteriorating our posture at an accelerated rate. We're even seeing children in the office whose posture is now starting to create neck and back pain at a very young age. And I just haven't seen that before. And so if you are one of those people, what I suggest is you can't see my station, but as you can look at me, you see I'm looking pretty straight ahead. So I have a deal on my desk that my laptop is sitting on top of. So I'm not having to look down.
Right, right.
So you want to keep yourself in neutral. I'm sitting up straight in my seat, which means my bottom is pushed as far back as it'll go. And then I lengthened my torso. I'm not sitting on my tailbone. And if I had a job like this all day, I would get up very frequently to walk and stretch, because it will slow down your metabolism the longer you sit. There's no need for your body to burn any calories if you're just going to sit there, as well as it's going to create other issues as well. So if you have a job where you're altering your structure like that, get up, move around, stretch your hamstrings, do some jumping jacks, some exercises, get that metabolism stimulated, drink water, go to the bathroom frequently, drink more water so you have to get up and go to the bathroom.
Right.
And so that would be my tip that I would leave for everyone, no matter what your age is. Motion is life. Keep moving. When things stop moving, things start dying. And so we want to stay moving as much as possible. Okay.
Yes. Now I don't want to get
All
too
right.
far off topic, but how do you feel about those desks that some of the companies?
The stand-up desk?
Yes.
I think they're great. I wish I would have invested in them. Honestly, they're a great idea. I created a version of that in one of my offices. A long time ago, before that even came about. So that's why I said I wish I would have just thought about it from a business standpoint. So I put my computer. I had someone build shelves for me on the wall so that my computer is looking up. And so when I'm at work, I'm actually on my feet and standing and typing still in a neutral plane, so that I take care of myself biomechanically and ergonomically, because the last thing you want is to go to a chiropractor with a bad back.
No,
True.
it's true. That is
Like, so what's wrong with you? And how are you going to take care of me?
Maybe you need help.
I don't know. It's like marriage. You rub my back, I rub yours. So, all right. So
functional medicine.
Functional medicine. I'm really enjoying this conversation with you guys. This is probably, honestly, the most detailed I've ever explained it like this.
Good.
And so I just realized,
I'm enjoying it.
Me too, yeah.
I've told the story about my mom, but not in the detail that I did with you all this evening. So that's the first time I included some details that I just normally gloss over. But what's interesting is it comes back to that. Functional medicine is a deeper dive into looking at a whole person. The word holistic is the whole person. So looking at the whole person and looking at the underlying causes of their dis-ease, but then helping them through lifestyle measures like stress management, like nutrition, using certain supplements we're going to need, because one, the soil is depleted of nutrients. We're not getting the same quality of food that we used to get. And people are just not able to eat the way they used to eat. When I was growing up, and I know that I'm younger than you, but when I was growing up, fast food restaurants were very rare. I mean, there were one or two. There was one McDonald's, one Pizza Hut, one of everything, and it wasn't so conveniently located. You had to drive a little ways to get there. So that was typically like a Friday type thing or a special occasion.
Mhm.
And now it's a daily occasion, and there's 20 of
Breakfast,
all
lunch,
of them.
and dinner for some people.
So functional medicine utilizes the things, what I call the basics, getting us back to exercise and moving, eating properly, make sure that we get enough sleep, make sure that we're managing our stress. But looking deeper to say, if a person comes to me and they say, I have diabetes, when we go to a traditional doctor, and this is not me, dishing on doctors, truly it's the problem of the healthcare system. So I want to make sure that I make it plain. I have a lot of really good friends that are medical doctors. I'm not anti-medicine. I'm not anti-medical doctors. I believe we all have a place. I just believe that that place should come as everything else has been exhausted, not as a primary, right? And so what happens is when you typically go to a doctor, because of the way the healthcare system is set up in America, they only have a few minutes to see you, and they have to rush through these things, which is why you guys come into play, right? And it's not because the doctors don't care or don't want to. They just don't have control over the structure of how that system is. And so they're handcuffed to it and just have to perform. Now that I got that out of the way, you find out you have diabetes. The question is, what's wrong with me? And if you've ever listened to me, I always tell my practice members, don't settle for what's wrong with you. The question you need to ask is why? Why do I have diabetes? And if you can ask why and get an answer, now that becomes your what. Because if my answer to the why I have diabetes is because of what I eat and I don't exercise, then guess what? I know what I need to change.
Right.
And now I can take responsibility for my health. I'm not just sitting at home waiting for someone to rescue me, to save me, to send me another prescription. And I'm not going to sit here and complain about whether it's a virus or whether, I'm possibly getting a foot amputated because I did not take responsibility and take the action necessary to improve my own health. And so what I love about functional medicine is we ask why. And we're going to ask you why. Why do we want to figure out why you have this condition or this ease, and then we're going to help you reverse engineer it and work it out. We look at labs just like they do, but we have a range. I'm not going to wait until you're at 6.4 to say, hey, guess what?
Now,
You graduated. You are a full-blown diabetic. I'm going to look at it at 5.5. That's the high end range. Right? So at 5.5, we're like, listen, you are trending towards pre-diabetes first and then eventually diabetes. So we can have this conversation now, or we can have this conversation later. But I think that you probably want to start doing something now before you ever have to have that conversation.
Right.
Health is much better to maintain when it's your choice. When you're forced to eat a certain way or do something because your health is so bad, when you're in an ER, because you're somebody found you unresponsive, now you don't get a chance to make the same decisions that you could have made prior. So I love functional medicine because I get a chance to help a lot of people avoid crisis. And then there's some people that I work with that are in crisis that, believe it or not, we've been able to help them turn it around naturally. And I don't take credit. I'm not doing it. I'm facilitating. I'm looking at the information and I'm guiding them, but they have to do their part.
Right.
And I'm seeing more and more people that are willing to do their part. They're willing to take responsibility and say, hey, I don't want to be on these medications for the rest of my life. I'm tired of going on vacation with this bag. I'm tired of the grandkids coming over and I can't get up and play. Or if I get on the floor, I can't get back up. Right. There has to come a point in your life when you say, I can do better. And if nothing else, I believe every single person under the sound of my voice has a purpose in their life. God doesn't make mistakes. We're not born without a purpose. And if you have a purpose, you should have an obligation to fulfill it. But it is hard to fulfill a purpose without fulfilling your health.
Oh my goodness, you need to talk to some of my family members.
Right? So what ends up happening is you're trying to give out what you don't have on the inside. And so then you're frustrated and you limit your impact, or people mistake or misunderstand your intentions.
Right.
And I believe, personally, I believe the reason that the world is so crazy today, besides sin and the enemy, I believe it's because too many people aren't living their purpose.
Yes.
If more people were fulfilling their purpose, I believe there would be less craziness and chaos in the world. There'd be more love. There'd be more joy. There'd be more happiness, because now we have people that are living on purpose and it's starting to impact other people. And you multiply that by millions of people, by billions of people, and you're going to have a totally different outcome. But we can't do that if millions of Americans have underlying health issues and are on a whole lot of medications. And sometimes these medications have so many effects, right? Now notice I didn't use the marketing term. The marketing term is side effects. Well, that's marketing, because there's no such thing as a side effect. right? You can have a side chick, but there's no side effect.
You better.
Right. Because think about it, if I were to manufacture a drug that I plan on making, millions, billions of dollars on, why would I make a drug that's going to have a bunch of side effects? That's not good for business. However, I can't control how this medication is going to affect your kidneys or your liver or your nerves. So it's the unintended effect is what it really is. But that sounds like I'm going to get sued. So we'll just call it a side effect. And now it just sounds okay.
Wow.
So the point of what I want to share with you guys is whether it's chiropractic care, whether it's functional medicine, I'm here. My personal purpose statement is to help add value to others by leading them to a transformation so they can live out a higher sense of their self using their God-given gifts and potential. That's truly what I'm here for on a really big level. So whether it's dysfunction, whether it's dis-ease, whether it's low energy, whether it's constipation or thyroid issues, I don't treat or heal anything. I simply facilitate and help people reclaim their health and revitalize their health so they can live their best lives.
Oh,
Give
that's
you a personal
wonderful.
hand.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you. Thank you.
Amazing. So where are your offices located?
I have 2 offices. They are both in Arlington, Texas. Not from here originally, but I'm all in Arlington, right? So I go to church in Arlington. I live in Arlington. My kids go to school in Arlington, and we have 2 practices in Arlington. They are both on Collins Street. So if you drive Collins Street long enough, you're going to hit these offices. One's in North Arlington, across from what's called the Meridian. So that's near River Legacy Park. It's right behind the office.
Beautiful.
So that's one office. It's 4120 North Collins Street, Suite 200. The other office is on South Collins. So it's going to be south of 20. So we're north of 30 and south of 20.
Okay.
And it's at the intersection of Collins and Kaplan. There's a Arlington Municipal Airport
Yes.
right there across the street. So that's where we are. So whether you're coming from the Mansfield direction or coming from the HEB direction, if you get on Collins, you're going to pass by either office. And one other thing I want to share, Deidre, is our office has joined a group, a functional health group. Think of it as like a Texas Health Resources, but for holistic and chiropractic care. So you'll see our name changing from Active Family Wellness Center to Curus Functional Health. And what I love about that is Curus Functional Health blends together chiropractic, mental health, and nutrition.
Oh, very
And so,
important. Very important.
so yes. And so now not only do I have 2 offices of my own, but I'm a part of this larger group that's now up to 30 offices throughout Texas, 1 in Oklahoma, and then Missouri as well. So now we have greater resources and abilities to help serve our community.
Congratulations.
That
That's
is
wonderful.
great. That is so good. Well,
So is there another way to reach you? Website?
Yes, ma'am. So our website is going to be www.txwellnessdoc.com. So it reads like Texas Wellness Doc.com, but it's TX instead of the whole word of Texas. Our phone number for both offices is the same. That makes it easy. Is 817-557-2770. If you're on social media, we have a Facebook page called Active Family Wellness Center. There's a North for the North one and a regular one for the South office, which is the original office. And then on Instagram, it's Local Wellness DR for doctor. Local Wellness Doctor is our tag for Instagram. So we upload content and information to keep people informed because doctor means teacher. And so we try to educate our community and our practice members because the more you know, the better you can do. But if you don't know better, it's hard to do better.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
This has been so informative. Thank you, Doctor. We appreciate this so much. I do.
Yes.
I learned a lot today. So,
But thank you. I'm the one that's honored. You've been doing what you're doing for 26 and a half years. You guys are amazing. I'm fans of you
and
guys.
it wasn't my first rodeo. You'll find
Wow.
out. So
Yes,
anyway,
yes.
so it's been wonderful to do this you talked about purpose. Well, that is my purpose. My purpose is to help people and make a difference in their life. And when you find that, it's so rewarding. So I applaud you for wanting to help people find their purpose, because that'll put peace in their life. So
Yes, it will.
no matter what they're doing. So thank you again. I really appreciate this from the bottom of my heart.
You're welcome. And if I could be of any assistance or resource to either of you, anytime, just reach out and let me know. If I can squeeze it into my schedule, like tonight, I absolutely will, because this is part of my purpose. And I know that there's a lot of education that we all have to do. And we're like a super team, right?
Yeah.
Your show is called Your Friends. So we're like super friends, right? And so
Yeah, that's right.
we have to work together to combine our knowledge, our expertise, and our powers to leave this place healthier and better than we found it.
Absolutely. When you know your purpose, it's not hard to get out of bed.
No.
Right. So thank you so much for your time. I would love to have you back next year. We can hone in on another topic and educate and empower. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Health Chats Among Friends. My name is Dr. Kendrick. I'm a nurse advocate, educator, and navigator.
And I'm Sue Wallace. I'm a certified senior advisor, and I work with Deidre.
Thank you, Dr. Godwin, for all that you're doing. You are so powerful. You're amazing. And thank you for your time.
Welcome. God bless.